Hey, welcome to the channel. Like, subscribe, comment, it helps. This is my thoughts and opinions on Mass Effect 2. I want to start off by saying I really enjoyed this game. I was genuinely surprised how much I liked it. Coming off of Mass Effect 1, my expectations were pretty low, but this game fixed almost every problem I had with the first game and like just streamlined it and made it better. I had some issues too. There were some things that I liked a lot in Mass Effect 1 that are not here. But I want to talk about the positives first. And one of the first things that like thoroughly impressed me and blew me away was the chat wheel. Almost all of my previous issues with the chat wheel from Mass Effect 1 have been addressed. Everything has basically gotten better, and it's what I expected from Mass Effect 1 is present here in Mass Effect 2. And that's generally what makes the experience for me. I also enjoy the fact that they improved the third person shooting and they added a cover button. That's nice as well also, but the main thing that makes me like this game so much more is the general quality of life improvements, like how they, made navigating your ship a lot more easier, how they made planet exploration faster, there's less load screens. I know it's kind of like it's a 50-50 split about the, scanning for minerals. Personally, I get it is kind of boring, but I understand why they did it, and I prefer it to the Mako because it's quick. And I'd rather get back to the meat of the game, which is the chat wheel and the combat, as opposed to, spending multiple load screens going to the planet and then driving. All the driving. But yeah, I prefer this. It's not, and it's weird because it's like it's not really better, but it's quicker, and it gets you back to the heart of the game faster. Another thing that was a massive improvement for me was the writing. The overall story was just so much better to me. Like everything, even the side quests, all of the writing in this game felt head and shoulders above the writing in the first game. And while the writing in the first game wasn't bad, it was just boring and stale, and it felt generic. Like I didn't. It felt like it could have been any sci-fi, any type of sci-fi movie or book. And you just could have just copied and pasted it. It felt like it was a copy and paste job. And I know that may not be a popular opinion. I'm ready for the flame, the flame war in the comments coming out my way. But that's just my personal opinion. With this game, I didn't feel like that. I felt like it had its own identity. I felt like I was finally into this world and other galaxy or whatever. I finally felt like I could, what I mean? I felt like I was really immersed for once. I felt like it was more believable and it had its own thing going on. I did not feel like that with Mass Effect 1. I also felt like the characters were so much stronger. The only characters I liked from Mass Effect 1 were Rex and Liara. Everyone else was just kind of meh to me, you know what I mean? And while I like Rex and Liara, I like everyone in this game even more. Like, I'm not gonna say everyone, but I like the vast majority of my squad more than I like those two characters, which just says a lot. I don't know, man. It's just I personally feel like they really knocked it out of the park here. And I mean, I poked a lot of holes in the plot, the main plot of Mass Effect 1. I'm not gonna do that here in Mass Effect 2, and I'm sure there's holes that can be poked, but it'll be a lot harder. And I didn't want to because I actually enjoyed the story, whereas with Mass Effect 1, I didn't. The two most notable improvements for me are the improvements to the chat wheel and the improvements to the immediate reaction and effects of your decisions. That really is what put this game over the top for me and made me fall in love with it. The chat wheel is just absolutely phenomenal this time around. There are finally gray areas and gray choices. I just applaud them for giving me so many options. This is exactly what I wanted from Mass Effect 1. And also too, I can say there's no recycled dialogue as far as I've seen, and I've tested. I've like reloaded multiple saves to, have different options, and I'm pleasantly surprised and impressed each time that, taking a conversation in a different direction can have very, very different results. Whereas that was not the case in the first Mass Effect. The same thing would happen. One of two things were going to happen, or the exact same thing would happen, and you just get slightly different dialogue, if that. Whereas here, that's not the case at all. You can have wildly different results from what you say, and I love that. It makes replayability go through the roof, and it's probably one of the main things that's made me fall in love with this game. Also, the choices you make actually have immediate effect. I also love this. And sometimes it's not big. Sometimes you might just get like a message while you're on the Normandy. But still, there's a cause and effect to where you feel like you're actively doing something and making a change, and you don't have to wait an entire game to see the effect or the change. Love it. Absolutely love it. I know I've been crapping on one a lot throughout this video, but I actually want to take this time to talk about some of the things that I actually liked a lot in Mass Effect 1 that are severely missed here in Mass Effect 2. And I'll start that off with the inventory. I hate the fact that you have to go back to your ship to change your loadout essentially like it's a multiplayer game. I miss the inventory system severely, and it kind of just detracts from this game being a hybrid and feeling more like an action game. I also did not like what they did with the leveling system and how they kind of just minimized your abilities. It just really feels like they made all the RPG elements an afterthought this time around, and I just don't like that. I also severely miss the upgrade system for your weapons and your armor. I don't know, it's like a lot of, it's just so much stuff that's not here where you know you can actually personalize or upgrade your equipment, and this time around you just can't do any of that. It kind of just, I don't know, it's just almost at times feels like it's a completely different game, which is weird. Like obviously it's Mass Effect, but mechanically it just doesn't really feel like Mass Effect a lot anymore. The weapons furthered this complaint for me, because in Mass Effect 1 you had unlimited ammo and the focus was on coolants and cooling your weapon, whereas here in Mass Effect 2 you have limited ammo and you have to gather ammunition and bullets. And I don't really understand this from just a logical standpoint. Having unlimited ammo sounds a lot more futuristic than having to scavenge for bullets like we've been doing for a long ass time. I don't really get that. I feel like the series lost its identity, and I get it. They were chasing other games. So this released around Uncharted 2, Gears of War, etc. It released around a lot of other, a lot more grounded third person shooters, and they were trying to be like them, and I do not know why. And to me that's a negative. That is a big negative. I wish they had have stuck with a lot of the things that made Mass Effect 1 good, as opposed to like cleaning the slate in the way they did. I still think that it's a massive improvement over the first game, but I wish they had have kept some of the things they got right. To just wipe the slate clean the way they did is a negative for me. It feels like they leaned a little bit too much into making this a third person shooter in development, and then making it a hybrid RPG was an afterthought. That's what it feels like to me. Anyway, that's just my thoughts and opinions, guys. What's your favorite Mass Effect? How do you feel about Mass Effect 2? Like, leave some comments. I like to, discuss this with my viewers and subscribers. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe.